Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is originally created for Wednesday, September 15th. So we're at that midpoint of the month. Crazy. I don't know where the time has gone, but it's just slipping right by. It is not solely created for that day. It's more about when you see the message than when it was created for, but I do talk about the readings previous to it. But just take the message rather than the time that it was created. Please check out the drop-down menu underneath the video. In there are some housekeeping rules, things I want you to think about, just all the information you might need to figure out the channel. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the reading. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Share the video out with your friends. Let them know about my channel. And this is the daily forecast. Let's see what the cards have to say. Here comes my bulldog. I can hear her. She's moving around now. She's decided to get out of bed. She's been awake for like a good 45 minutes. Hi, ma'am. How are you? Hi. You came to bless me with your presents? So, this morning's card is the Wheel of Fortune. Lovely card. I think it's associated with Sagittarius. I can't, or maybe it's the planet Jupiter, which is associated with Sagittarius. I can't remember, to be honest. I'm like drawing a blank. But regardless, the Wheel of Fortune is, in my opinion, sort of like the universe trying to work with us to give us whatever it is that we need. Sometimes what we need is sort of the thing that we might be fearing or focusing on, right? The thing that we're giving our most attention to. So sometimes I see the Wheel of Fortune as being, it's always a blessing, right? But sometimes it can come in a roundabout sort of way or in a way that is unexpected. How do I want to put this? Like, you know, sometimes when we fear something out of like trying to protect ourselves, we can manifest it right into our very doorstep, or, you know, in this worry or this like automatic belief that it's going to happen if we don't do something to prevent it from happening. We almost like give it life or energy to make it happen. So sometimes, and that's the very thing that we need, right, to face so that we don't have to live in fear or worry of it, right? Does that make sense? So we can get beyond it. I hope I'm making sense. Maybe I haven't had enough coffee. So to me, what this says is, essentially the Wheel of Fortune wants to favor us. It wants to support us. It wants to give us whatever it is that we need or that we seek, that we believe in. But in the process of doing that, it can sometimes bring us experiences that can be troubling or challenging, because those are the very experiences we spend our day-to-day life thinking of trying to avoid, right? So sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can bring us about the very thing that we think we're trying to resist, but it's that very resistance that calls it to us because we put so much energy and attention into that resistance. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So, keeping that in mind, we want to stay focused on the positive things, the good things in life, the opportunities, the magic, the joy, all of that sort of stuff. We want more of that, and we want that to come into our experience more so than anything else. And when we focus on that, the Wheel of Fortune wants to assist us in bringing us more of what we like look at, more of where we place our attention, more of what we believe in, right? If we believe things have to be a struggle, well, then things will continue to be a struggle until we start to think differently, until we start to see the opportunities and the possibilities that reside within the struggle. Does that make sense? So also understanding that there's a greater, grander plan, all of that is available to us. That definitely helps too. Give me one moment, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So believing that there is a greater grand plan, believing that we're a part of it, believing that we're deserving of the benefits of that things work out in our favor. These are definitely things that we want to focus on, that we want to sort of believe in, align ourselves with. That's kind of the Wheel of Fortune to me, right? There's also sort of a steadiness to the Wheel of Fortune where it's kind of, it works out in its own time. We can't necessarily rush it. And also at times we can't slow it down, right? I usually associate the Wheel of Fortune with patience in the sense that we have to kind of wait for things to sort of align up or click into place so that the next step can come about in whatever the process may be for us. But, sometimes it can move. It moves however it needs to make sure that we get exactly what we need, right? And that's usually always to me, it's always to our benefit. Although I don't know why I'm associating this with not necessarily stressful situations, but sometimes we have to be aware of what we're focusing on with the Wheel of Fortune. That's just kind of the gist of it. Oh, wow. Okay. No wonder why I'm focusing on the negative this morning. We have the Sacred Journey markers. This is death. Card number 46, right, which would be a 10, which would be a 1, which would be a focus on the self. So, death, no, and then the Wheel of Fortune, right, which would be sort of similar, not only part of the cycle of the journey towards the death or the ending, but also the renewal that happens post-death, right? That's sort of the cycle that the Wheel of Fortune spins upon, and death is definitely an aspect of sort of the cycle of life. Everything faces death. I would say this, and we'll look at the grounding stone too today, but I would say today could be a quite impactful day. And the reason why I say that is because the Wheel of Fortune is big and expansive and sort of like our overall environment coming to meet us, like face to face in a way, right? I don't know if I'm explaining myself clearly this morning. I feel a little bit, I understand what I'm trying to say, but I don't feel like I'm expressing it that great. So, and then we see death here. And to me, death is obviously an ending, right? But also with the Wheel of Fortune's presence being here, it also signifies a new beginning, right? When I see the number 10 or the number 1, it makes me think of the death of the self, right? Or maybe the death of a behavior that we do, a perspective that we keep, a belief that we have, something that no longer serves us, or that no longer, is worth keeping, right? And so it needs to die off. It needs to shift. It needs to change. What I feel like is these two cards are kind of working together because one requires the other. The death is required wherever that death may be in our life, right? If it's a perspective shift, if it's a belief system, if it's a resentment that needs to be let go, that needs to die. And literally, like, death would mean like complete release of that, whatever that may be for you. And each one of you, it may be something different. But whatever that aspect, and that might be the thing that you're focusing on, that the wheel is trying to bring you sort of more of, so that you can't avoid it anymore. So you have to allow it to die, or else you'll just sort of torture yourself in a way. Does that make sense? But that death is required so that the wheel can continue to spin, right? We might need this very thing to die off or be released, to let go fully, completely, like death would indicate, so that we can move along our path towards what we need next, which is what the Wheel of Fortune wants to bring us. But again, this explains why this Wheel of Fortune felt a little bit, not foreboding, but to me this morning, it feels like, exactly what we focus on, we're going to get more of. Right. So if we're focusing on, I can't believe they did that to us, well, then we're probably going to get more opportunities where they're going to do that to us. Or they're going to, or it's going to build for us the resentment, the anger, the frustration of whatever was done, right? Which we can't necessarily stop that. So the death is we need to release that resentment, that anger, that frustration. Does that make sense? So that we can then release it, so that the Wheel of Fortune can continue to move forward and bring us something new, fresh, that serves us, right? And I'm just using that as an example. So wherever this is in your life, expect that whatever this release is, whatever this change is, and it will be, to me, with the Wheel of Fortune there, and then kind of the extremeness of the death card, like it's a little bit spooky. This feels significant, right? This feels obvious. This is not something that is, oh, I didn't see that coming in a way. It's something that you're aware of that needs to be released, that you may struggle with, that brings you further pain or upset. But today is the day to really think about, okay, how do I release it? How do I let it go successfully, right? And then allow the next chapter to begin, right? It's similar to, like, I like that they depict this death card with the ocean waters, right? Because the tides, they wash in and they wash back out. They clear the beach, right? And there's still those green mountains in the background. So there's still life even amongst death, right? There's still a cycle that happens even as we change, as we ebb and we flow, similar to the tides. We're constantly changing and evolving. We're still there and we're still the water, right? We're still present, but we're not static in any way, and neither is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune, even when it slows to a snail's pace, it's still moving forward in some way. We can't avoid it, similar to how we can't avoid death. It's part of the cycle, right? So then I think about the grounding stone, and I'll go to the grounding stone for today, but I think about the grounding stone in this week and that word respect. And to me, this reading is definitely about respect of the cycles that go on around us. Interesting. I always know this stone because it's the only stone that's in there that's painted, but it definitely jumped in my hand today as I grabbed it. And the stone is create. So as we have something ending, we also have something beginning. And it's sort of like the full cycle here of creation and endings, and then everything in between, coupled with that Wheel of Fortune. So what do we need to allow to let go so that we can continue to create new? That would be my question to you. That would be what I would have you ground in today. And the respect for those cycles, right? The respect for the Wheel of Fortune, for the cycle of death, the wisdom that comes with that, right? And I'm not talking about endings are profound. And they can be, I don't know, maybe I sound like an idiot this morning, but they can be great teachers, right? Wherever the ending may be, endings to relationships, endings to behaviors, endings to limitations, all of that would be forms of death to me. And where can we let go so that we can continue to create and move forward with the sort of greater, grander master plan? That would be the Wheel of Fortune's energy. And it may not necessarily, to some of you, death can be a spooky thing, or like an ending or letting go can be scary because, oh my God, what am I going to put in its place? But that create stone to me says that there is something else there. There is something beyond this that we need to understand or accept or believe in so that we can continue to move forward and that we can continue to be creators in our space. I hope that makes sense. And we can co-create with our environment. Okay, this was a long reading, but I feel like these are like really weirdly profound midweek cards. What was the underpinning energy? I forget. The Eight of Wands. Okay, so we're talking about the spirit, which would be wands, and the 8 is moving forward, right? And we have that Justice card too in all of this, and the Ace of Swords, which would also be about rebirth, renewal, and new thought, new communication. So something is shifting for you guys. It's got to be. And if it's not, then I'm not sure. Maybe this reading is only for one specific person, but to me, this reading feels rather profound. It's like the whole cycle of, it's like if not Hakuna Matata, but the circle of life started playing in the background, I wouldn't be surprised because that's what these cards are giving me full on today. The hum-ma-ma-la, hum-ma-ma-la, or whatever they say at the Lion King. So get out there, let go of what we don't need, enjoy the journey, right? That's also too about the Wheel of Fortune, is like it wants us to feel blessed and enjoy the journey and embrace and respect the death of it all, right? The aspects of what goes on, right? Beginnings, endings, and everything in between. it's all right here for you, and it's all ready to play out in the way that you need it to, but you have to understand that, accept that, and then sort of appreciate or respect that, and then see what it brings to you. I hope that makes sense, you guys. That is your forecast for the day. Nothing too simple, right? Nothing major. No pressure, guys. Have a beautiful day. Please hit the thumbs up button and let me know what you thought about this reading, if it makes any sense to you, because it does feel rather profound. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.